the things that we focused on heavily that we noticed, especially because again, our first one was in Mount Pleasant, right? We started that one from scratch. And the reason that we started our second one, we didn't even start, we acquired our second one, was because we're close to Ephraim, Snow College, right? And people, the thing that we would run into is like, oh, well, I live over there and I'm working over here, but I have a membership over there, but I'm here today and I don't want to pay for 2 memberships. So can I just work out here?
Right. Yep.
It happened enough. And we're like, okay, well, why don't we see if we can solve that problem? So we contacted the owner, and it took like a year, maybe a year and a half to finally get it to happen, to the point where he was like, nah, I'm not interested. But then we got to the point where we're like, well, we keep running into this problem. Let's just build one ourselves. But the area couldn't support it. And we were at the point where we were going to pull the trigger on some land. And I contacted him this one last time, last ditch effort, and said, hey, this is where we're at before I commit 100% to this. Cause once we do this, there's no turning back. I just wanted to see one more time if you're open to us acquiring your location. And he's like, actually, we've been talking about it, and I think we're ready to, anyway. But the whole reason that happens, and one thing that we've noticed in rural small town Utah, is it's hard to do business. And so things that look good on paper for a business in a populated area, they don't look good on paper here because you just don't have the people.
Yeah.
And that's what we've noticed about the gyms that try to start in these little towns, is people have these illusions of like, oh, grandeur, and it's going to be great because I'm going to start a gym and I'm going to do these things. But then they don't realize that the overhead and the expense and the cost, and it's like, okay, am I going to be able to keep the lights on this month? Okay. And that's what we found in all these small little towns. So part of our strategy after acquiring that second one, the same thing happened to the next town, which is Gunnison. It's like, oh, I'm in Ephraim, but I'm working in Gunnison,
right? And
I'm over there. And so we're like, oh my heck, it just kept snowballing down the road to there, to Richfield, to Monroe. But one thing we found is all the gym owners that we were talking to in these small towns were the same. They had second jobs. The gym wasn't their primary focus because they soon found that they were spending way too much time for the return that they were getting, and it wasn't sustainable. And so then they would have their normal job, like their regular job that would provide their lifestyle. And then the gym was just kind of a, well, I want it here for the community type thing.
Yeah.
And so when we took them over, there was kind of a relief on the owners, because it's like, oh, great. So now, and then we've got, between the 5 gyms in San Pete and Sevier, it's almost like one normal gym. So we
can membership count and everything.
So then it's like we can actually, it works that way. And then we do the one membership, multiple locations, and that kind of thing. So it's actually been good, but our focus really with the gyms has always been the same as these other guys that have tried to start them, is we wanted to be able to provide a service for our members. We've always thought that just because we choose to live in a small town doesn't mean we don't like the services of the big towns. It's just harder to pull it off here.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of been our MO. We just try to figure out how to pull it off. And then eventually we were buying some used gym equipment from a gym up north in Payson. And we got talking to the owner, and he's like, oh yeah, I took this over because it was failing, but it's not my main business. Same thing. Everyone that does a gym, it's not their main business. And I was like, oh, are you going to keep it forever? What are you going to do? He's like, no, I'm going to sell it. I was like, oh, well, I guess we're in the gym business, because we had no intentions of bridging that gap, because we feel like that's the city, right?
Going to Utah County.
That's different than what we're used to. But he had the Payson and Salem gym, and we talked to him, and I think it took about a year and a half, but we were able to do that same thing. We bought the gyms from him, and then those gyms, just because there's more people, it's the same business, same model, same everything. It's just in a populated area to where there's more members, and we're like, oh, this is what business is supposed to be like. You have people that can actually support what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then from there, we were able to do here in Mount Pleasant again, we did a field house, because we're we're probably one of the coldest areas in the state. We keep snow the longest, and the kids, like spring baseball, they don't ever get out on the fields, usually into their first games, and they're usually away games. And so we've wanted a field house forever. City hasn't done anything yet. The school district hasn't. They're trying to right now, which we're crossing our fingers that they can pull it off, because that would be fantastic. And it would be bigger and better than the one we have.
Right.
Ours is about 10,000 square feet, and you think that's a lot until you get in there and start using it.
So it's
like,
a wide open space, and you're trying to play a sport in it.
Yeah. You're like, dang it needs to be a little bit bigger, like everything that we do. But anyway, that's kind of always been our MO with the fitness side of things, is just kind of figure it out, try to make it better for everybody, give people a place that you would find somewhere else. And obviously we're still falling short when it comes to like the Vassas or the
Sure.
Gold's gyms, right?
Yeah.
Where they come in, or the Planet Fitness, where they'll just come in and say, our gym has to be the same as every other gym. And then they spend however much money they need
Yeah.
to make it look the same, to get the same equipment.
Yeah.
And they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to get it up and running in the first place. And we're just like, oh, well, can I buy that used bench from you? Try. We're slowly getting better. We're doing additions. We've done several additions on some current buildings that we have. In fact, we're doing our most recent one. We're doing in E-from right now.
Mhm.
But anyway, so the gym business and the studio, but they're different. But business
Yeah.
principles are similar and sound, and there's a lot of crossover with that. But if you're to say that the gym business feels like it's overtaken the photography, I would just argue that you're right, just in the sense that we're not dealing with a Katie growing it to her level of comfort.
Well, and yeah, I didn't mean that to degrade the photography in any way whatsoever. I
No,
was
and
just simply saying, like, Katie, like, she's the artist,
sure.
and that's what makes a photography, is her art. And one person can only do so much. And
Sure.
so you can only get so big, you know.
As a
until you get into-
solopreneur, yes,
Yeah.
but I'm more interested in creating businesses,
Right.
and so that's
Yeah.
again another
Yeah.
chokehold with that, because the gym, we are turning it into a business, right? We've got
Yeah.
a great team. In fact, we just did a leadership training this last week. We pulled in all of our managers and just to try and become better people. I'm working on a brand. I like the 180 Strong. So our gym's called 180 Fitness, but I like the 180 Strong brand. I'm still trying to flesh out how to make it work, but it's the next thing that I want to start pushing, where it's more a commitment on the, like, what a strong individual is.
Okay.
And it's based off scripture, so it's not anything that I invented, but I think it's Mark 12, 30, and 31, and I don't know it exactly, but it's basically love the Lord thy God. What's the great commandment? Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, mind, soul, and strength. This is the first and great commandment. The second is like unto it, love thy neighbor as thyself. So
Mhm.
the idea is those four pillars. So if that's how you're supposed to love, with those four things, with your heart, with your mind, with your soul, and with your strength. So that's the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual, right?
Right.
So the 180 Strong brand, I want to try and incorporate that into encompassing that commitment to strengthening those four pillars for yourself. Like, that's the first thing. That's apply the oxymaster to yourself before you apply it to somebody else.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Get yourself in order, learning yourself, and then turn it outward,
Right.
and then turn it into service. So the exact same thing, but for others instead of yourself. My philosophy, I like the relationships are the currency of life.
Uh-huh.
And so the better you can be for yourself to better serve others. It's just, I feel like that's what life's about, trying to figure that out. Cause and we live in such a world. I don't think the world is as divisive as people in the imaginary,
In the ether.
yeah, however you want to, like the media, right?
Right.
It's like the whole, if you watch that, you think the world's burning down. But then I go out to the people that I know and I'm like, oh, it's not the world I live in.
Right.
It's like completely different than, so anyway, I take that with a grain of salt. But as far as like us, I notice like with the fitness side of things, like the gym side of things, people that are in that world will spend a lot of time focusing on what they put in their bodies.
Yeah.
But I don't think they spend as much time focusing on what they put in their minds.
Right.
And that's the mental part, right? And then the emotional part is a whole nother thing, because that's, anyway, and then the spiritual consciousness
That's a
or
whole other
so.
thing.
Yeah. That's
No, I totally get that.
uh,
So being in a small town and having businesses that focus on, like, what I would say is outside of the average required for life things, you know, like, because there's certain aspects, certain businesses you have to have, like, you have to have foods. There's always going to be grocery stores, at least, if not restaurants. Restaurants I still consider kind of to be outside of the necessary for life, you know. And then in small towns, it's pretty required that you have a vehicle. So mechanic shops are always there. Do you feel like that style of business, like a business that is more what you would consider a must-have, is easier in a small town? Or do you think it's the same as running like your gym and photography?
like service businesses.
But just ones that you know, like you don't have to go to the gym. You can walk or, you know, be a farmer because there's a lot of farmers that are pretty strong and stuff
But
like there's a lot of things that you
yeah,
can do outside of the gym that you don't have to have a gym
sure,
membership for to stay fit.
sure,
And there's also like you can take pictures with your cell phone. So,
sure.
you know, I do see the value in a gym. I love going to the gym, and I also see the value in professional photography because there's certain things that I want to have encapsulated forever that I want to have look good, not just me trying to take a selfie real quick, you know. But do you feel like like a grocery store or a mechanic shop or a doctor's office or a dentist or things that are like required for life, is that easier to maintain in a small town? Do you think, or does it make a difference at all?
I think I think there are those certain things that, like if you Google, in fact, I probably did this when I first moved here. It's like, what are the top 20 businesses that every city needs?
Right.
And all these things that you mentioned are on there to some level, whatever that means, right?
Yeah.
I think as long as you're solving problems for people, there will be and then it's just a question of how quickly and how good you can solve those problems for people. And then there's that voluntary exchange of capitalism, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So like with the fitness stuff, you're right. We don't corner the market at all on fitness. There's 1,000 things that you can do to do that mental, that physical strength, right?
Right.
Walking,
Right.
running, marathons, like you talked about, 1,000
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah.
One thing that I do notice is the trend of we're becoming less. So farmers, there are less farmers than there are office workers, right?
Yeah.
So we're becoming a more sedentary
Yep.
people. So the fact that we even have to think about, and I'm getting older, and now I used to, like when we were younger, right? It's like you could outwork your eating habits. You
Yeah.
could outwork all of because you're just going all the time. Like
Yep.
your body is doing what it's supposed to do, and it's outworking your bad habits that you're masking because you're young, right?
Yeah.
You get older, you become more sedentary. All of a sudden, the habits are catching up with you because you're not outworking them anymore.
Yep.
And that's where the gym, as one piece of physical exercise, comes in. And that's why I think people like, because I'll still run into people like, oh, I have my own home gym, but I still go to the gym because my home gym, I mean, they're limited on space.
Yep.
Or the amount of upfront cost it would take to get all the equipment that I want. It's going to take me 10 years of a gym membership to even make it worth it.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's all these different things, right? So as far as the gym goes, it's just a service that's being provided. And I think you talk about marketing or sales, like we're in a world where everybody's selling it for us, right? And then
Yeah.
it's just a question of, do you have one where